My brother died from alcohol. And the reason why it affected me so much is because, obviously I was very close to him, he was my brother. But the reason why it affected me so much is because when he died, the doctors said that if he wasn't drunk, he wouldn't have died. He got drunk, he got in a fight. One punch, it took one punch, and he hit the floor, the brain hit the back of his head and he died. As soon as he hit the floor, he was dead, it was instant. But the doctor said if he wasn't drunk, he would have tensed for that punch and he wouldn't have died. That was the reason. So if he hadn't been drinking, he wouldn't have died. So I always had a problem.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sahabat Semesta Inspirasi, selamat datang kembali di channel Semesta Inspirasi, tempat di mana kita berbagi kisah-kisah yang menyentuh hati, membuka wawasan dan menguatkan keimanan. Pada kesempatan kali ini, kami hadirkan sebuah kisah nyata yang sangat menggugah jiwa, perjalanan hidup seorang wanita asal Inggris bernama Aisha Rosalie. Sebelum masuk ke ceritanya, jangan lupa untuk like, komen, dan subscribe channel Semesta Inspirasi agar tidak ketinggalan kisah-kisah inspiratif lainnya. Aisha Rosalie adalah seorang wanita asal Inggris yang besar di lingkungan keluarga dengan banyak luka batin. Sejak kecil Aisha tumbuh dalam keluarga yang tidak stabil. Ayahnya adalah seorang pecandu alkohol berat. Tak hanya membawa kerusakan mental dalam rumah, sang ayah bahkan meninggalkan keluarga demi menjalin hubungan dengan seorang remaja perempuan berusia 15 tahun yang ia kenal dari bar tempat ia biasa mabuk-mabukan. Kejadian ini menjadi pukulan emosional yang berat bagi Aisha kecil. Namun tragedi lebih menghancurkan terjadi ketika kakak laki-lakinya meninggal dunia akibat perkelahian yang dipicu oleh konsumsi alkohol.
I always had a bad relationship with alcohol. So when I was 8 years old, my brother died from alcohol. And the reason why it affected me so much is because, obviously I was very close to him, he was my brother. But the reason why it affected me so much is because when he died, the doctors said that if he wasn't drunk, he wouldn't have died. He got drunk, he got in a fight. One punch, it took one punch, and he hit the floor, the brain hit the back of his head and he died. As soon as he hit the floor, he was dead, it was instant. But the doctor said if he wasn't drunk, he would have tensed for that punch and he wouldn't have died. That was the reason. So if he hadn't been drinking, he wouldn't have died. So I always had a problem with alcohol. And after his death, I was very young, but my family, they didn't understand the negative impacts of alcohol. They actually carried on drinking. They drank more than they used to. My dad went to pubs even more. I saw him even less. He was always at the pub. And through him going to the pub, my dad then met a 15-year-old girl who he left my mum for. He ran away with a 15-year-old girl and he left his entire family behind because of alcohol. And this is something that I always advocated for when I grew up, because my entire family split in half over the course of a year. This all happened in a year. It was me, my dad, my brother and mum. And then that was it, half was gone. I never saw my dad again, half was gone. It was me and my mum. And I think what happened after this incident is I grew up hating alcohol. I hated parties. I couldn't attend parties.
Kehilangan saudara kandung yang sangat dekat dengannya meninggalkan luka mendalam dan trauma psikologis yang bertahan selama bertahun-tahun. Di usia muda, Aisha sudah menyaksikan kehancuran yang ditimbulkan alkohol. Dari hilangnya figur ayah, kehancuran keluarga, hingga kematian sang kakak. Meski sempat merasa takut dan jijik terhadap alkohol karena pengalaman pahit masa kecil, Aisha akhirnya ikut terjerumus juga. Memasuki masa remaja, Aisha mulai dikelilingi oleh teman-teman yang gemar berpesta dan mabuk-mabukan. Ia mulai masuk ke dunia glamour, dunia hiburan, dan mulai menjalani hidup sebagai aktris di Inggris. Lingkungan dunia hiburan yang ia geluti pun sangat mendukung gaya hidup hedonisme. Pesta minuman keras hingga pergaulan bebas menjadi hal biasa. Aisha sempat merasa kosong dan kehilangan arah. Meski di luar ia tampak baik-baik saja, tapi ia mulai mempertanyakan apakah hidup hanya seperti ini, hura-hura dan kekosongan.
Getting older, probably around 20, I started thinking, oh, maybe it's not so bad. I never turned into a party freak. I never went through that. For me, it was about networking. Everyone said, if you go to these clubs, you'll meet the right people, you'll get in the right circles, you'll network. So I started doing it for that reason. There was one time when I was in LA, I went to a nightclub and somebody spiked my drink. And that same night, I ended up in hospital because somebody tried to kidnap me. Pretty much, someone tried to kidnap me while I was in LA. And after that moment, I remember waking up in the hospital. I had makeup all down my face. I was in an awful state. And I remember thinking, why did I do this to myself? Like, I've always been against alcohol. Why have I started getting in this life? But the worst part was, after that, I didn't stop. I carried on partying, not as much as my friends, a little bit here and there.
Di tengah kekosongan spiritual dan pencarian makna hidup, Aisha memutuskan untuk pergi ke Istanbul, Turki, Niat awalnya hanya untuk eksplorasi budaya dan wisata. Namun takdir Allah berkata lain. Saat mengunjungi Masjid Biru, yaitu Masjid Sultan Ahmed, Aisyah merasakan ketenangan luar biasa. Aura masjid yang damai, suasana yang penuh ketundukan dan keheningan yang menyentuh batin membuatnya menangis tanpa sebab yang jelas. Ia merasa seolah hatinya disentuh oleh sesuatu yang selama ini ia cari. Dari momen itulah Aisyah mulai tertarik membaca Islam. Ia mulai menonton video-video tentang Muslim, membaca terjemahan Al-Quran dan mengikuti kajian Islam secara daring. Perlahan hatinya yang dulu kosong kini mulai terisi. Ia menemukan makna hidup yang tak pernah ia temukan dalam dunia hiburan maupun pesta. Setelah berbulan-bulan mencari, membaca dan merenung, Aisyah akhirnya mengucapkan 2 kalimat syahadat. Ia memutuskan meninggalkan karir dunia hiburan dan mulai mengenakan hijab sebagai bentuk komitmen spiritualnya.
I came to Turkey with bad intentions. I didn't have good intentions when I came here. So Allah really waited until I'd lost my whole self pretty much, to the extent that I was looking for plastic surgery. I was actually trying to change myself. Allah waited until I lost my whole self until Allah took me to Islam. When I was in Blue Mosque, Sultan Ahmed, I think you guys call it. That's when I started really seeing into religion for the first time. I'd experienced other religions, but not to the depth that I experienced Islam. Other religions, I just kind of read about them, but Islam I experienced through feeling. From being inside the mosque, from hearing the azan, it was completely different. I never thought of myself as an Islamophobe. I never thought I didn't like a group of people. I was always trying to be kind. I did have prejudices. When I first came to Turkey, I remember my granny said to me, please don't go to a Muslim country. Please, just don't go. She thought something was going to happen to me. And when she told me, don't go, it's a Muslim country, I was like, honestly, I got scared. I definitely did have that notion. When I first visited a mosque in Turkey, I thought the people were going to tell me I can't go in. I thought that they were going to, laugh at me. They were going to stare at me in a negative way. I expected the worst when I went into a mosque for the first time. Seriously, was when I did tasbih for the first time. So when I saw people in Turkey doing tasbih, I saw so many people doing it. I thought they were stress beads. That's what I used to call them. I used to call my mum. I'd be like, people in Turkey, they do stress beads. It's so cool, mum. So when I actually Googled for the first time what you're supposed to say when you do it, and I learned about Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, and I learned the meaning of these words, and I started doing it for the first time, there was another moment on top of that was really special, and that was the moment that happened after I did tasbih for the first time. And that was the moment when I was coming out of the mosque, Blue Mosque here in Istanbul, and I stood between Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia. That's where I heard the azan for the first time. I mean, I'd heard it before, but this is when I really heard it. I actually stopped and listened to the azan, because when you're standing between those two mosques, it's so loud. The azan is so loud, and I remember standing there and just hearing the azan and thinking, wow, that is so beautiful, that is so peaceful. It's just so loud. It reminds me of when I wasn't Muslim and when I heard it for the first time, how far I've come since, I've just come so far, I've just changed so much. And it's so beautiful. In that moment, I had an hour journey back to my hostel. I had to walk an hour back to my hostel. I didn't know the way. I was thinking to myself, okay, I need to go back to my hostel. How do I get there? So I got my phone out. I was ready to Google Map. And then my phone that was on 50% battery just died. And I remember feeling really anxious. I was thinking, how am I going to get back to my hostel? I'm in a foreign country. I don't know where to go. And I was panicking. And the azan was still playing. And then all of a sudden, it was like all my worries just dropped. It was like everything just disappeared, and my anxiety left my body, and I thought, God, if you're real, this is kind of what's going through my mind, God, if you're real, help me get back to my hostel. And in that moment, in a very, 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 very long time, I wasn't anxious. I wasn't worried. Before I became Muslim, I think I spent a lot of my time being worried. Everything worried me. I had such bad anxiety. What if I go in the street and this thing happens? What if I do this and this happens? And then once I discovered Islam, once I became Muslim, it was the remedy to my anxiety. It was the thing that I'd been searching for so long to stop me from feeling anxious all the time and worried all the time, because I learned tawakkul. I learned about having faith in God, about having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That feeling was what actually drew me to Islam. It's inside Blue Mosque. After that, I went back to the hostel and I started reading the Quran. There was an English translation inside my hostel, so I picked that up and I started reading and I read probably around 5 pages of Surah Baqarah. I was just reading, and I remember I took pictures on my phone of any ayats I found interesting. And after that, I just kept learning. I kept reading the Quran. I had no intention to become Muslim, but I kept doing these things just because I was interested. Something sparked my interest. I wanted to know what was going on. I come back to UK, I carried on learning. As soon as I come back to UK, lockdown happened within the week that I came back, which subhanallah was completely Allah's plan, because if that hadn't have happened, what easily would have happened is I would have come back to UK, I would have gone back onto a film set, and that's it. You know, when you're working in film, it's like you go in the morning, you go, in the evening you come back, there's no life. But subhanallah, lockdown happened, and lockdown forced me in my house with my phone, with my computer, with my books, and I read. And I just read, I learned, I watched lectures. I did it all at home. I didn't know any Muslims. I was by myself for the entire journey. And I still wasn't planning on becoming Muslim. What really sparked it for me was when I actually started praying. I thought, I'm going to try this, because like I said, I was really into self-help, and I thought, if someone can get up for Fajr, like that makes them have amazing self-control. So that's what I started doing. I started using praying to help me gain control over my days, to help me structure my days. And by doing that, my days were becoming so much more productive, because I would plan between Fajr and Zuhr, I would do this, this and this. And between every prayer, I planned all these things, and I was being so productive with this schedule. I couldn't believe it. I loved it. I was like, this is awesome. Islam is awesome. People who pray 5 times a day, it's so cool because you can do so much with your day. So I was doing that. And then Ramadan came, and I was like, I'm going to really try and get self-control. I'm going to try Ramadan. My mum did not want me to. Like, she honestly thought I was going to die. She said, you cannot do this, you will die. She was so mad at me for trying. So I was doing Ramadan in secret, and I could not believe I was doing it. I honestly didn't expect to be able to do it. I started doing Ramadan, and that's when the actual belief started to come to me. It stopped being about dunya gains, about myself, and it started being about Allah, because during Ramadan, I was just like focused. I was fasting, I was praying, and between that, I was just learning about Islam. That was all I was doing with my time. So the way Islam made me feel, I was like, this is the truth. Nothing in my life has given me this feeling. And because of that feeling, that's when I started taking it seriously. And I started going, this is from God, because only God can give me that contentment. I've tried so many things in my life to find contentment, to find happiness. And God has given me that with Islam.
Keputusan ini tidaklah mudah. Banyak orang di sekelilingnya yang tidak setuju, bahkan mengejek. Namun Aisyah tetap teguh. Ia menyadari bahwa Islam adalah agama yang selama ini ia cari. Islam memberinya arah, tujuan dan ketenangan sejati. Ia meninggalkan masa lalunya, memperbaiki hubungannya dengan keluarganya semampunya, dan mulai berbagi kisah hidupnya melalui media sosial agar bisa menginspirasi banyak orang. Kini Aisha Rosalie aktif sebagai konten kreator muslimah. Ia membagikan kisah hidupnya, pandangan-pandangan Islam dan perjuangannya sebagai Mualaf Dunia Barat. Ia mengedukasi banyak non-muslim dan juga memberikan semangat kepada muslimah muda untuk bangga dengan identitasnya. Sahabat semesta inspirasi, kisah Aisha mengajarkan kita bahwa masa lalu yang kelam bukanlah akhir dari segalanya. Dari tragedi, luka dan kehampaan, Aisha menemukan jalan menuju cahaya. Hidayah bisa datang kepada siapa saja, bahkan kepada mereka yang merasa telah hancur. Yang penting adalah hati yang terus mencari dan tidak menyerah pada kegelapan. Dan jika kamu saat ini merasa tersesat, ingatlah, selalu ada jalan pulang kepada Allah. Dan bisa jadi kisah Aisha ini adalah isyarat untukmu. Jangan lupa untuk like, komen, dan subscribe channel Semesta Inspirasi untuk kisah-kisah inspiratif lainnya yang bisa menyentuh hati dan membuka pikiran. Sampai jumpa di kisah berikutnya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Especially Muslims here in the UK, we are statistically the most giving group in the whole of the UK. We are the most giving people in terms of charity, financial wealth. We are the most giving in the UK. Statistics have proven we outgive Christians, we outgive every single person in the UK. And this is the blessed month of Ramadan. So please, please, please make the most of every single day. Us Muslims, I don't need to convince you to give. You're going to be giving anyway. The link to donate to the people in Palestine, to the Palestinian brothers and sisters that need us so much in Gaza right now, is in my description, is in my comments. Please donate, even if it's just a little. And if you're a Muslim woman and you're looking to build a supportive sisterhood with live classes that will bring you closer to Allah while bringing us closer to each other and closer to your dream life, inshallah, then Khadijah's Legacy Circle is a place for you. The link for that is in the description and the comments as well. Let's watch the video.